Hey everybody, how are you? We're live. Uh, everybody coming in from Brian's breakfast. Just getting started here. Let me just go to the chat. Just give some people time to come in. It looks like we have some people in already today. Hey Trev, how's it going? Main event. Joe, is it Joe from Anachronic or is it Bruno? Who's talking to us today? Zach, hey Zach. Brian himself is here. Everybody having a good weekend so far? I know it's still early. I'm watching myself on the screen as I'm talking here. It's a little distracting. My son is sitting to my right with my wife, so you might hear a bunch of little sounds coming up, right, buddy? And as he looks at the TV screen, he gets distracted because he's like, my dad's there and he's here. I don't understand. Below, he's almost 6 months old, 9. He's 6 months old tomorrow. So, yeah, he threw his hand up for that. Okay. So we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll do maybe a little something just for us. We are here to see the doc. Doc Samsonite's on vacation. You saw the end of the video. If you didn't, you should go watch it. Everybody's saying hi to everyone. That's cool. I have kind of, I guess, a shorter video today because I really didn't read that much. And I didn't go to the store to do a pickup. I'll probably do that at some point this week. Maybe even today. I don't know. We'll see when we're going to go for a walk or whatnot. Hey, buddy. But I do have 2 things to unbox. So that's kind of cool. We have like a live unboxing. I'm also going to attempt to do my first ever live giveaway. Now, I'm going to ask for a little bit of patience with this. I don't have, Doc was very shady, Trev. That was the point. Haven't read Isolation yet. Nate, you did get a copy of Isolation, though, right? I thought I saw you on your channel that you got one from Trev. I do have some extra copies. I'm actually going to send one out as an AOK, maybe later today or Monday. And then, again, I'm saying I'm going to try my first giveaway today. Now, I'm doing this from a phone, and if you're not familiar with StreamYard, the things like the hashtags and the duck races, like you see, like Brian does a lot of them. I've seen them on other channels too. I think Cole does a wheel. You need to do that from a desktop or a laptop. I don't have a laptop or a desktop I could work from. My only laptop is my work laptop, and I can't do any of this stuff, of course, from my company laptop. They wouldn't like that. Go figure. So I'm going to just try to do straight down pen and paper, and hopefully my wife's able to help me out. It might be tough because she's holding the baby at the same time. He can't write, so we'll figure that out. I do want to thank, by the way, before we even jump into things, everyone who nominated me for a CBCA award. If you don't know, spoil sports. If you don't know, I am nominated for People's Choice Award, and I'm kind of, I guess, the guppy in the category of giant whales. Like, it's me, Comic Book Worm, TM Nerdy, Comic Book Vet, which I think he's the only one I haven't watched before. I'm going to try to watch some of his stuff now. Not right now, obviously, but you know what I mean. The coffee's just hitting now. Just give me a minute. And Reggie, of course. So I'm like 145 subscribers. And then I think the next highest up is like 650. And then Reggie is like 3,000 or 4,000. But, it's cool just to be nominated. I'm not going to just be like, wow, there's no way I'm doing this. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate that. There's no way I'm not going to approach this. I'm not going to do this. I'm still going to try my hardest. At the same time, thank you, Main Event. I kind of know that that's a huge uphill battle. And I also want to congratulate some people I see in here that are nominated, so some friends of the channel. Matt Woods, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I would not have a YouTube channel if it weren't for Matt Woods. Reggie, of course. Joe from Anachronic Comics, nominated in 2 categories. A bunch of others. Cole, I know, is nominated. Reggie has 18,000. Okay. Thank you, Trev. It's like, oh, no. Here you go. But look, I'll try. That's all I can promise. Like I said, it's just cool to be nominated. Yes, I'm the underdog. But you know what? It's those underdog stories that come out on top, kind of like Cool Runnings. Wait, I think they lost in Cool Runnings. I don't know. Do you remember that, honey?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think they came in second. So maybe not Cool Runnings. I don't know. We have to figure other things out. Miracle on Ice. I don't think I watched that all the way, to be honest with you. So let's get started. I only read one book this week. I read a couple digitally online. I'll say that. You got to be in it to win it, right? Yeah, you're right, Joe. Reggie just has a few more subs than us. If Rocky can do it, you can do it. Thank you. I like that. Yeah, Main Event, you might have just given me an idea for a video. Remind me of that, honey. I'm going to percolate on that one. Yeah, and by the way, Air Bud, you know what, Zach? Funny enough, I haven't seen Air Bud. I think I was a little older when it came out. I don't remember.
It was on the show.
But yeah, it just makes me laugh because my wife and I just discovered that through our cell phone service, we have 1 year free of Apple TV and Paramount TV. And we're trying to look for things that we both want to watch. We have one TV in the house, so we like to, if we sit down and watch a show, something that we both enjoy. Although there are things that we make exceptions for, like my wife is watching Sandman with me. She's not really into spooky kind of shows, even though Sandman isn't really that spooky in my opinion. So she's being a trooper and hanging out with me on that one.
She-Hulk.
Well, She-Hulk we both like, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, She-Hulk we're both enjoying. I don't know what the negative reviews are about. Maybe we'll talk about that. But one of the shows that we just watched was, I never say it right, so I gotta ask her.
Shmigadoon.
Shmigadoon?
Shmigadoon.
I don't know, on Apple. And it's definitely a unique story. One of the guys from Key and Peele, I can't tell them apart. I don't know which is which, I should say. Hey, White Wolf Mojo. And I think it's Cecily Tyson from Saturday Night Live. Hey, Digger. Definitely a different kind of show, and they happen to mention Air Bud in that very briefly. That's why we just kind of laughed. So let me talk about the one book I physically read this week. Like I said, I did read a couple in digitally. Catching up on Devil's Reign, which I really like. And my son and I had a little bit of downtime, and we started reading issue 1 of Fantastic Four on the Dan Slott run. And he's 6 months old, but he liked the colors. Hit that thumbs up for Mr. Fantastic. Thanks, White Wolf. Yeah, Zach, I watched the first episode of Ted Lasso. I liked it. My wife, not so much. We're going to give the second episode a try at some point, but we have a lot of things that we're trying to catch up on as far as our watching goes. Luckily, and, I should say this too. I apologize if my regular scheduled content or scheduled recorded content has not been up and running this past couple weeks. I was very, very busy at work, but I'm off this week, so I hope to catch up and maybe do a couple more videos too. I kind of want to up the amount of videos I put out. Nothing too crazy, but we'll give it a shot. So anyway, the one book I did read in print was a print copy of Sarita from Legacy Comics. I've talked about Legacy a lot over the past couple weeks. If you're unfamiliar, it is it's a independent publisher out of Brooklyn, New York. Pat Hickey Jr., whom I interviewed a couple weeks ago. You can see the replay of that on my channel. Really, it's his kind of brainchild, and he's kind of I think he's the main creative force behind it now too. He writes like half of the books. Some of the books that they put out, most of the books I put out, I should say, although they sound interesting, they're very short. I like to call it like comic book tapas. They're like 8 pages long. But the print quality is pretty good. The story themselves, I have to say, vary. I really like Condry. I talked about that in a bunch. But you can also read all these digitally, I should say, too. Because digital, I feel like, is the way to go in general with Legacy. The Job, I think, is my favorite of them so far. I talked a little bit last week about the Legend of the Night Owl. And P.S. I did reach out to Pat actually to see if any of the original artwork is on sale because that first page was just amazing of the Night Owl. But Sarita, hey buddy, Sarita is a character from Conjury. He's just kind of establishing the Conjury universe. I'm not going to give anything kind of away as far as what role she plays or what role we think she plays, at least in here. But this is the first full-page comic I've read from Legacy, at least. So there's a definite plus there. The print quality, I have to say, it's pretty good, but I think they changed something recently. It's kind of like this glossy paper that you don't get the Marvel wave from. You get kind of some different type of wave. I don't know if I can get that quite with this light here. I don't think you're able to see it. Let's see here. But yeah, this is basically the backstory of this character, Sarita, who presumably, bless you, buddy, will play a bigger role in the Conjury story. And we only saw a little bit of her in Conjury. The artwork overall it's good, but not great. You have some great panels like this. I really like this panel. This one, though, I don't know. It just seems like it's a little off. The story itself, though, I don't know. Like, to be honest with you, they do a little bit of kind of inkling into how important Sarita will be to this universe, but you're not getting, in my opinion at least, too much more than you would have gotten just from Conjuring. Is it an interesting read? Yeah, I mean, it's something, to be honest with you, I probably would have read digitally. And it kind of, I guess it's kind of hard to say because anytime that you deal with, in my opinion at least, and this is with films, with TV shows, anytime you're dealing with a prequel or a spin-off, I think you have to ask yourself, is this a story that really needs to be told? Is this something that adds to the character? In this case, I mean, look, we got the story about what happened to her husband. We got a little bit more information about the character of Sarita. And we got just a very small inkling. This is just a little coming soon thing, which is too small to really go into. But we got a little bit of an inkling of why she's, not really why, but kind of a confirmation that she has these powers that are something more than a normal person. I still can't say that it's something that needed to be told. I think we have to go a little bit further into Conjuring before I'm able to determine that. Is The Conjuring good? I'm thinking you mean Conjuring. As far as Conjuring goes, I'll tell you, we saw the first two movies. The first one I thought was good. Second one was okay. We didn't see the third. Just my opinion. I didn't see any of the spin-offs. But as far as Conjuring goes, I do like Conjuring very much. I did a little bit of a discussion with that when I interviewed Pat. It's something that you could tell is very layered and a little bit more complex than it looks on the first kind of go-around. You know, it's very easy at first to dismiss it as a Sin City ripoff, but if you keep reading it, or if you just think about what you're reading a little bit more, it's a lot more, there's a lot more to do with it. It's not a straight-up crime noir story. And they're just scratching the surface, I think, in Conjuring with that. And I guess in that sense, yeah, this maybe helps kind of get into why it's a little bit more than a Sin City type of story. Overall, again, I thought this book was just okay. Obviously, if I hadn't read Conjuring, I wouldn't have picked that up. And it's like anything else with Legacy. We're going to just kind of see. Speaking of main event, I'm sorry, I just see on the screen. Speaking of Legacy Comics, by the way, I was thinking of main event because Legacy actually started their pre-orders for 2 books. The first is actually going to be the first full issue of The Job, which is my favorite from Legacy. If you are unaware, and I've talked about it in the past, but if you're unaware, that's the story of a wrestler, minor wrestler, he's like a jobber, who him and his wife basically moonlight, I guess you could say is a lack of a better word, as bank robbers. And issue 0 is out now. You can read it either digitally or in print. But definitely my favorite so far of the Legacy titles. And for everybody who watches Reggie Collects, Steve Conge will be taking over duties as the regular artist on the job. So definitely interested in reading that. And then he has another one that's more satirical. He told me coming out in the fall. I don't know the name offhand. It's about a duck, pretty much. Little guy's going to sleep?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so like I said, that's the only thing I read in print this week. I'm waiting on a couple of things to come in, to be honest with you. I talked last week about I've got actually 3 orders from Unknown Comics. 2 are over 21 days at this point. I think one of them is going to be delivered anytime between today and Monday. Another one hasn't been shipped yet, and another one's not going to ship probably until mid-September. I thought I'd at least get one of those here, but I did get my Reggie Collects Soldier Supply box. And I figured, as my gift this week, why don't we open it up here? Probably should have just cut that open. Yeah, main event. I'm still waiting on Unknown Comics. That, you know what's weird? They have on their website that they ship 21 days after the street date. And these orders I did back in May because there was some Hellfire Gala variants that I, to be honest with you, did not know if my LCS was going to carry or not. And they didn't really give me an answer one way or the other. So it's last week was 22 days. And I called and they were like, oh, yeah, no, we have the shipping label. And I could see that they printed the label, but it's not here yet. Okay, so I'd like to point out whenever I get something from Reggie, he does an impeccable job packing it. And this is from the Reptilian Overlord. We're lucky, I think, is it this week that we have recycling or is that the following week?
I think this week you said.
Yeah, I have to look. We have a lot of boxes. And I was kind of excited because it feels a little bit heavier than it typically does. But first, let's go through just some of the tchotchkes he's gotten here. I actually have something on my keychain like this, so I'm going to offer this to my wife if she wants. I could open it. Have you checked out Atomic Empire yet? I haven't yet, main event, but I think I might. So the first is a little Reggie Collects sticker, the Soldier sticker, the Transformers type of one. I like that a lot. I have to figure out a way, I think, to display the stickers, honey. Because right now I have them, if you've seen some of my videos, you might notice them just kind of placed on my bookshelves. And it's getting a little crowded and it kind of looks, I think, a little out of sorts in my opinion. I don't want to just stick them on the side of the bookshelf. That doesn't look appealing to me either. So maybe my wife will help me figure out a nice way to display them or arrange them. The other thing, and I have, this is cool. This is like a measuring tape with the Reggie robot on it. I have a little measuring tape on my keychain already, so I think I'm going to offer this to my lovely wife.
Thank you.
And she might like it because it's a bright color. It's actually nicer than the one I have. There's like a rubber kind of thing. Yeah, Kingpen did a great job with the logo. I actually, Trev, if you go back in my videos, you might see last year around Christmas, I took a bunch of woodcuts and made ornaments which people either put on their tree or just display on their wall. And I asked most people who their favorite characters were. In the case of Reggie, I actually did his little insignia on it. And I have to figure out what to do for this year because last year that was a lot tougher than I expected. The next are these little display things. This is different than the ones I've gotten in the past. This one looks, it's just for photos, trading cards, sports cards, and more. And I'm going to give you a little, yes, Joe got a Booster Gold one. I always feel like I want to redo that one, Joe. I like this pose, but I don't know. Booster Gold is such a cool character, in my opinion, design-wise. It was just fun making the gloss of his goggles. I remember that one fondly. This is a nice little pro tip. Reggie includes all these different supplies whenever he ships these things out. I offer them to my wife because she actually uses some of them to display. Like she's got a plate on display. We have like a little piece of boardwalk from the from Wildwood on display too. So these things come in handy, not just for comics, but for really anything you want to display. And this, I have one of these. So I think I have one of these. So I'm going to offer this up to anybody who wants it. Just message me on Instagram, DM me, and we'll figure something out here. This is one of the Reggie pins. And this is this has some nice weight to it. One day, remind me next time I go to my mom's, I think I have all of my extra pins from when I was in Elk there. I have to show off, I talked a little bit about before, my wife and I were involved with a nonprofit. I was involved for 10 years, and we're both no longer involved with them. But I was our district vice president one year, and part of the whole thing is that you have to make up your own little pin. So I made up a logo kind of based around Superman, because my whole thing was, when you were doing these voluntary things, you weren't just acting alone, you were acting with the whole organization in theory. That's a whole nother story I won't tell about, but it was like, look, it gives you the chance to be like Superman. So I have to see, because I think I have a lot of those pins left over. Maybe I'll just throw some of those to some people, whoever wants them. Next are these clear backs and boards. I have a good supply of these now. I've been using these if I have anything that's kind of like high end, that's not in a slab for some reason. I actually use these for all of my copies of Isolation as well. And I like it, gives it kind of a nice glossy quality. I didn't know, I think that there's a sheen on the actual board itself that could be removed. I haven't played around with it too much enough to do that. But those are all the tchotchkes. Now, why don't we go to the actual books? My last folder supply box weren't really any books that I collect, and I'm actually going to include one of those, I think, in AOK. So, there's something else in here. Oh, these are the stick-it labels too, clear labels, which are great for sealing up your beds and boards. But last time there wasn't anything that kind of was mind-blowing, I think, as far as comic-wise in there. But it's always good, I guess, just to have as a giveaway or something. So let's go through and see what we have. Oh, first we have a print of Mr. Miracle. Or is it Mr. Miracle? I can't remember his name. No, Dr. Fate. I'm sorry, I only had one coffee so far. Nicely done. So let's take a look. This is JSA number 75. This is cool, actually. Alex Ross cover from the Day of Vengeance. I have to see, because I might have this one. Because I remember reading Day of Vengeance. I forgot this was around New 52 or exactly when that event was. But Alex Ross cover, you can't go wrong with it. What do you think of that cover, honey?
I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, it is a very cool cover. Again, Alex Ross, how can you go wrong? Has Alex Ross ever done a bad cover? I mean, I know some of them haven't been always awesome and amazing, but they're usually all pretty good. So let's see this one here. This is an interesting one. Detective Comics number 600. Claim Fate. Maybe. I'll see if I have it. If I have it, look, if I have that already, Digger, and if I have this one already in my collection, this one is yours then. But I have to check. Detective Comics number 600. This one I know I don't have, and I have a pretty good display of Detective. Yeah, just a cool cover. This is Denny Cowan, Dick Giordano. And the last one in here, this one I know that I have, but it's a good one. Superman 10-Cent Adventure. Joe, I might have gotten your box. These are all DC. Yeah, I don't remember too much about the story, but I do know I have this copy here too. And I think it goes for more than 10 cents now as well. So I have one other item to unbox. And I kind of know what it is. I can't show you the front because it's got my address on it and the sender's address, but I believe this is from Brian LCS. And we were talking a little bit about the Comic Book Community Awards. And here's a little note here. Thank you for your CBC award support. Here are a few CBC award stickers as a small thank you. So nice little cool note. I'm going to put this on file. And I have some CBC award stickers here. So yeah, we gotta figure out how to display those stickers. Okay. So now a little bit of a giveaway. I'm trying to clear up a little bit of shelf space. I've actually promised my wife while I'm off this week, I will actually work to organize my comic book collection. Hey, Mars. I'll give you a little background information in here. So I've been collecting since since I'm about 14 years old regularly. I should also talk about my comic book origin one day. Maybe we'll make a video on that one. And I'm 34. I'm 40. I wish. No, I'm 43 now. So, I mean, you do the math, we're talking almost 30 years. I took a break while I was in college. So, you're saying I was off maybe 4 years at that point. So I have, at this point, over about, organization. That's the goal, Zach. My wife is shaking her head, yes. I have, at this point, about 15,000 comics. And, they're not all bangers. They're not all great comics. I remember I bought a small collection maybe when I really got back into comics and just getting more comfortable. A lot of what I have there, thank you, Trev. Trev, it's just that I have not a great camera. Trev says I don't look 43.
Yeah, you don't actually.
So I'm trying to find out, my aspiration is to really go through my comics and see, is this something that I want to collect? Is this something I want to pass down or something I could do without? Because I do have a fair amount from this one collection I bought of things like The Man from Atlantis, and I think my fear with that is that I really haven't sold too many comics, at least not in recent years. I want to say maybe like 15 years ago, I sold some Uncanny X-Men doubles I had through eBay. I don't think I would do eBay again just because of the fees and whatnot. But I figured maybe it's a good opportunity that you'll at least give some stuff away if it's something that I can't appreciate, but one of you can. That would be great. But when we moved into this house that we live in now, we moved in, it was like 2 days after we got married. I had a storage unit for my comics. And before that, they were at my mom's house. And Zach, definitely. It's a very tough process, and it's very time consuming, but I've come a long way. So I had a storage unit. I only had it a couple months. It was a bigger unit, and it started out at like $60 a month? And that's manageable, but I think I got kind of hooked into, I guess, a sucker rate because about a month after, maybe 2 months after I opened up the locker, I got a notice, your fee is going up.
Well, also, our house was not conducive for you.
Right. And I'll tell you this too. We have a very small house, about 900 square feet, and 3 of us, we're kind of, space is a premium at this point.
And humidity was another factor.
Yeah. Also, my wife was reminding me, when we moved into this house, this was a bank-owned property, which there's a whole bunch of other stories about. We can do a whole series just on why you shouldn't buy a bank-owned property, I guess, unless you're a contractor.
Lesson learned.
But one of the issues that we had was with humidity and groundwater coming in. And we did get waterproofing and
that was a process.
Yeah, that was a whole nother process too. And central air, along with a whole bunch of other improvements, and that has helped tremendously. But it's something that we still monitor. We got two dehumidifiers running down there, 24/7. I would like a air purifier. We're talking about that. But anyway, long story short, hey Kenneth. Long story short, I kept getting notices of fee increases. In about 6 months, my monthly fee was going from what started at like $65 to over $200. And that's when I said, look, I can afford $200 a month just to hold my comics somewhere. So we ended the contracts. Had a friend of mine go, and one of my friends and my siblings and my sister's boyfriend come, and we cleared out the unit. We're talking, it's got to be at least 30 long boxes. I don't know. And I think it was at the time, did I just have my surgery?
Yeah.
And that was the problem too. I had shoulder surgery, so it was 2018 we're talking. I had torn biceps. And I couldn't carry anything. I was in a sling. So I needed the extra help clearing it out. It just, again, I couldn't afford that much every month. So we've had them in here in our basement, which needs to be elevated, but that's a whole nother discussion. And I really need to sit down and organize them. And I've said that, and that's actually kind of what led me to YouTube, by the way, too, because I was always looking at organization. I have a little numbered organization is tough not to crack. You know, Joe, I've always been curious because I know that you have comics from when you were a kid. I really wanted to know how many you have in your collection and how you organize them and how long you've been collecting. Cause that always is a head scratcher when I watch the, or I shouldn't say head scratcher, but it's always a question I have when I watch your videos. But always forget to ask. So really, that's actually what kind of led me to YouTube, because we're starting to look at organization videos, and I came across Matt Wood's immaculate organization thing and started trying to figure out how to build it. And we just kind of have resided to the fact now that anytime we want to do a home improvement or something like this, we're like, okay, look, we've put enough money into this house, we'll do that into our next house whenever we move. You know, we're not in a space to move right now, but that's a whole other issue. So anyway, how does that lead me to the giveaway? Because I've rambled on for too long. I'm clearing out just some shelf space, and I'm starting really with my trade paperbacks. Just some books either I've read and enjoyed and just don't go back to, or things that just maybe didn't hit with me. So I'm going to give this away. This is a book that I did read and I enjoyed. It's just not something that I think I'd read over and over again. This is kind of a thinner one, I'll be honest with you, but it is We Three by Grant Morrison, with art by Frank Quietly. If you haven't read this, it's kind of similar to Brute Force, which was the first comic I ever purchased. We have the government kind of experimenting on cyborg animals. That's about as much as I remember about it, to be honest with you. But I do remember enjoying the story. So this is what we're going to do. In fact, you know what? I'm going to make it even simpler. We're not even address it here in the chat. If you want this book, all I want you to do is DM me on Instagram and just say, I want it. That's it. I'll randomly pick from there, and I will put this out to the mail. I'm going to say Monday I'm going to go to the post office. I have a couple things to send out. So again, that's a copy of We Three, trade paperback. It's a short read, but it's in good shape. And I should also note too, even though it looks like it has all these fuzzy animals on it, a bunny and a dog and a cat, not for kids, definitely not for kids. So if you want this, go ahead and DM me. Again, just say I want it, and then I will pick a winner from that. Let's say it's about 11:30 a.m. Eastern time now. So why don't we say DM me by, let's say, noon tomorrow. So noon Eastern on Sunday. And then I will pick the winner from there. So that's good. I'll just go to the post office or go to shipping grounds on Monday and get both of them out. So I know today was a little bit of a lighter discussion. Again, thanks for help getting me on the ballot for the CBCA Awards. And I should say too, I'm very appreciative even just getting nominated. I think all the channels on there are great. And I think it's just kind of a boon for our entire community, even to have these awards. I went through my one pickup for this week. I promise that next week I will have hopefully a little bit more of a robust pickup. I mean, I would imagine that unknown is coming about. When thinking about what you want to give up, think about why you may never read again. Yeah, and to be honest with you, Digger, that's solid advice. Like, I kind of know, like, look, I always want Wolverine. That's always been my favorite. I always want X-Men. For a while, I was trying to focus on completing an Uncanny X-Men run. And I have a fair amount of the first volume. Everything now is either issue 100 and below. And I do have issue number 1 and a couple of other issues close to that. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with that, just because, as you've seen, Uncanny X-Men has just gotten way expensive in recent years. Maybe it'll come down a little bit now with inflation and whatnot. And I feel like people have stopped suggesting Omega Red is going to pop up in every single every single Wolverine, every single Marvel project that comes out. I think She-Hulk is the first time I haven't heard a Omega Red rumor before. I did say we we're going to talk about She-Hulk. I did enjoy it a lot.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and my wife is not a huge comic reader. Wolverine X-Men, talking about like so yeah, Trev. She's not a really huge comic reader. You read, I'm trying to think, with She-Hulk, you read a couple of the new series.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read the second issue? Just read the first?
Yeah, for
Just
the first issue.
Right. And you read the run before that one, which was not like, I can't remember the writer, but it was post-Civil War II. It was more about trauma.
Right.
And I remember you enjoyed that. You read a little bit of Charles Soule's run.
Mm-hmm.
This one seems to be more heavily like a mix, I think, between the Byrne and Slott run. Slott run is my favorite so far. You haven't looked at that yet. But I'm definitely interested in seeing where it goes. I thought it was a little slow when they were kind of talking about this is how you have to behave as a Hulk or how to control your Hulk. But I did think Titania was just kind of thrown in there at the end. But look, we've got more episodes to go. I think we're going to see her again. In fact, based on a little bit of what Bruce Banner was saying, what Hulk was saying, I wouldn't be surprised, and this is my little spec, take it as what you want. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Titania gets some Hulk blood somehow and turns into the Red She-Hulk. Speaking of that run, main event asked question, is Slott's run on Marvel Unlimited? I think so. I'll check after the show. Mars, I have to find a way to reduce my collection. I'm never getting rid of anything. Yeah. And that kind of brings me to, like, I'm in a similar spot. I've sold some, but, I think it's half of, well, what happens if I sell this and tomorrow they announce a movie and the price goes out of whack. And actually I talked to the Brettons about that at the garage sale. I'm like, look, you just kind of resign yourself to, oh well, you let it go, and not even think about it anymore. And then a fair amount of my collection as well is a bunch of just kind of random Marvel series or random DC series, Image series, video game comics. Like I know I have Castlevania, a couple Mortal Kombat, some Metal Gear. But, part of it too is that I want to say, okay, maybe this is something that my son is going to want to have or something that'll benefit him in the future. If, he says, look, I need a down payment on a house, and maybe X-Men #1 is like worth $100,000 by that time. Who knows, But it's an ongoing process. Maybe we might do a couple like live feeds while I organize, just like make it a party.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. So stay tuned for that. If I decide to do something like that, it might just pop up one day. But we talked a little bit about She-Hulk. I'm gonna go online and see if that slot run is on Marvel Unlimited. I know my wife would be interested in looking at that. Though what's interesting, I didn't know this until yesterday, and I'm not putting you on the spot, honey. She likes She-Hulk. She doesn't like fourth wall breaking. And I kind of said, you're going to have a problem with this series then, because that's kind of She-Hulk's thing. She-Hulk and Deadpool, and Harley, I think, to another degree, do that. So we'll see. Getting a little dry here. So really, that's all I have for you today. Starting with indie books that were cover buys and miniseries. Yeah, main event, though, I have to say, right now, some of the indie books, I think, excuse me, the ones that are being printed now, at least, are, I think, in many ways, better than some of the Marvel and DC things, at least I've been reading. I mean, that being said, look, Image just came out when I was like 13, 14 years old. I have a good amount of Evangeline comics. And my wife was helping organize, and she kind of looked at this like, what the hell is this? It's like, look, I was 14. That's the answer. I don't think there's anything too crazy in my collection. Anything come to mind?
I can't remember. We didn't even scan everything in when I was.
Oh, I did a fair amount of scanning. Yeah. We used I should say, the CLZ app I was using a different one, and
Yeah.
the program was just terrible. So I switched to CLZ maybe about a year ago, and it's tremendously better. I like it because I keep it right on my phone now, but they use a whole cloud or whatever, and they're going to be teaming up with Cover Price actually too to help track pricing now. I think that's next month. Yeah, CLZ is a godsend, Trev, and I can tell you I've used it so many times if I'm out or looking online and like, do I have this? And just, oh, don't need this one, I have it. So that's been helpful. I know I have like a good run of Gen 13. That I would like to keep. I liked Gen 13 as a kid. It's something I always look into when DC kind of remembers that they have these characters, but just can't seem to know what to do with. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should go do a video one day of just like things in my collection that I didn't realize I had or something like that. Hey, Master and Madam, how are you? We're just kind of wrapping things up. But you can certainly catch a lot of the information on the replay. So we talked a little bit about She-Hulk, CDCA awards. I showed you the stuff I got in my Soldier Supply box. A nice little note from Brian with CDCA stickers. Talked about my plans while I'm off this week to hopefully organize my collection, do a series on your comics. Yeah. You know what, Trev, one thing you could do, I have a playlist called Slabbed Stories. And I have only done a couple of episodes of it. I should come back to it, where I show off some of the slabs I have in my collection and tell about some stories that I have about them. Like, Trev, there is one that I know you would really like, where I show off a copy of Uncanny X-Men that I have signed by Dave Cockrum. I had that signed when I was about maybe 14, 15 years old. And it's in a slab. It's the only green label I have because, you know, CGC wasn't around when Dave Cockrum was there. You should live stream while you're organizing. Maybe, Zach, because I feel like the only problem I'm worried about that is that I will do more streaming than organizing, or I'll do more talking than organizing. But we'll see. You know, or maybe it'll be the other way, where I'll be so in the zone with organizing, I won't be paying attention to the stream, and I'll be like picking my nose or something, or just blasting out farts, forgetting that I'm live streaming.
Maybe you could do like the tail end of it, so you're not too distracted.
I don't know. We'll see. You know, look, we got a week. Yeah, my classic procrastination thing. Yeah, we got a week. We could figure it out. But again, if you want to win this copy of We 3 from my collection, go ahead and DM me. You have until noon Eastern tomorrow. DM me on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, get it? I don't know. DM me and we'll figure it out. I'll pick somebody from the DMs and I'll get your mailing information. Hopefully get that in the mail to you on Monday. Yes, that would be very hilarious. But yeah, I would probably do something like that. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for checking out my stream today. And again, thanks for your support with the CBCA Awards. Congratulations again to the nominees that we have here and elsewhere as well. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day here in Jersey. It's going to be a nice day. We're going to plan to go on a walk. Might get a couple things done too. Who knows? But enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.